You, Matthew.
Hi, my name's Matthew. I'm an addict. Sure, not intimidating at all, man. Um, I'm like quite overwhelmed. I didn't expect to find myself standing on the stage at a convention um, for the country. The microphone makes me feel like I'm giving a performance. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm incredibly grateful to be clean today. And it's by the grace of my higher power, you guys, these meetings, and the magic of the steps that I'm able to stand here today. Not so long ago, I weighed 39 kilos and I'd abandoned myself and given up hope in my life. I kind of crawled like a person with osteoporosis into my first meeting. And after being clean in this program for 5 years, I stopped doing what I needed to do, and slowly but surely my addict thinking came back, my addict behavior came back, and I picked up. And it took me over a decade to make it back. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to do that. And when I made it back, I tried everything else. The guilt and shame of picking up again stopped me from coming back to the meetings, and I tried everything else. I tried osmosis, I tried photosynthesis. It didn't work, until I just completely flatlined everything. I was just this empty shell of a person walking around, and I didn't know what to do. I'd pushed everyone out of my life because I knew that anyone that came into contact with me would be affected by me and hurt by me. And a lot of my damages this time coming into recovery were more things that I didn't do than things that I did. And in step 8, it talks about this list that we need to make of people we've harmed and become willing to make amends to them, and a lot of the people on my list were my very close family, who I didn't necessarily physically do things to, but it's the stuff I didn't do, not being present, not being around, not being there for my daughter, not being there for my parents, not being a son, not being a father, not being a friend. And I ended up in a dark room, as we do, with the curtains drawn, the bell disconnected, using and just repeating that cycle over and over again. And I didn't even watch TV or do anything. Every now and then I used to turn my computer on to see my name and the word welcome with that little circle going around, because I wasn't welcome anyway. And when I came back to these meetings, you guys welcomed me, and you didn't care where I'd been. You were just glad I was back. The best time to do step 8 is after step 7. I struggled quite a bit. Like, it talks in the basic text about this step is the first in the process of releasing the guilt and shame of my past, and being able to make myself whole again and connect with the people that are in my life. And I'm grateful to say that I've done that step a couple of times since I've been back. By the grace of my higher power, in 28 days, it'll be my 3rd birthday. I'm very grateful for that. When I first did step 8, I kind of had 3 columns, because willingness is something that doesn't always come easy, and I have to be honest about what's on that list, it's very difficult sometimes not to think of the step 9 process of like having to actually go and do these amends when you're making the list. And the literature talks about like just focus on the list, don't focus on making the amends, just focus on the list. And I had, I had these 3 columns. The first one, like, I'm not allowed to swear, I forgot about that. Because the columns has swear words in them, the first column is like not a F, and the second column is like not in my lifetime, and the third column was never in a million years, And that was my willingness, and as I prayed about it and as I worked, those things moved further to the point that I was willing, And there's still 1 or 2 that I don't know, like we'll get there eventually. The literature also talks about financial amends and separating that from the other amends. I came into recovery now with a lot of debt, and jails, institutions, and debt, at this slowly but surely, I've been able to start paying some of that off, and I'm able to live today, and that's a miracle. I stand here today. I don't deserve to be here. It's by the grace of my higher power that I'm standing here. Like, if it wasn't for you guys in this fellowship, I'd be gone. I'd be in the ground. The amazing thing about the steps for me is that it's changed my perspective of who I am, who you guys are. My sponsor tells me that I have a lifetime disease with a day-long solution. And working step 8 is about being present. It's about just doing what's in front of me, not worrying about what the next step is, and just concentrating on what I need to do now, the next right thing, A lot of people, there's some people that refer to God as good orderly direction, or gathering of drug addicts, or get on doing. Like, there's a lot of different ones. I've struggled with that word God, but it turns out it's short and easy to spell. So, I use that. I'm grateful that I have a power greater than myself that helps me. I wouldn't be standing here without that. And you guys are a huge part of my high power. You guys are the reason that I'm able to live a beautiful life today. Today I get to see my daughter. I get to have relationships with beautiful people in my life, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. My name's Matthew. Thanks for letting me share.